This lesson is designed to give you the confidence to move forward and achieve your goal of home ownership. All right, so let's go over the current market trends. So right now in the marketplace, there's a shortage of homes. The prices have risen steadily from last year to this year. Home prices have increased. Part of the reason the home price is increasing is because there's a shortage of homes and more people are out shopping and they're bidding for homes. So it's getting increasingly more difficult to buy a home. That's the state of the market right now. The people who are putting their homes on the market in this marketplace are typically selling their homes because they have to. Maybe there's a divorce, somebody passed away, or maybe there's something that somebody has to move and they have to move to LA because they have a job and they're leaving the New York tri-state area. They have to sell their home. So what that means for you is these people who are putting their homes on the market are serious sellers and they want to get that home sold. So if you're interested in buying a house, the good news is you're going to come across some sellers who are very serious, and if the house is overpriced, they're going to reduce that price until it's in an area where somebody will kick in and buy that house. And that somebody could be you. So let's continue with our course. So let's take a case study. So last year I was working with a client and she's a school teacher and she was interested in buying a condominium, 2-bedroom condominium right here in Westchester. And what we found was that as we were shopping for the condominium, the prices of the condos that were coming on the market were getting more and more expensive. We're not talking about doubling in prices, but if a condominium came out for $425,000, 2-bedroom, and she made an offer on it and she got outbidded, we noticed that the next condo that came on the market was not coming out for $425, it would come out to $430, $445. And this is in the same condominium project. And so what we would do is we would leave Westchester and go to Connecticut. Why? Because the idea is if we go to Stamford, Connecticut, condominiums are going to be selling a little bit cheaper. And you know what? That is true. However, because of the demand for condominiums and the lack of supply, every condominium that we found that she made an offer on, she would get outbidded. So as we got more acclimated to the market, she began to get her game face on and knew that if we're gonna go after a condominium, and so after 3 or 4 times being outbidded by competition, the other buyers on the market, she came strong on the last one and actually got her offer accepted. She actually overbid. So I think they were asking at that time about $495 and she bid approximately $515. And fortunately, we were the first ones in. So that's a victory, right? So we showed her what to do with her credit so she could improve her borrowing capability, meaning that she could borrow a little bit more, get a lower rate, and get better terms. We're gonna go into that in some of our future courses, so stick around for that as well. Now, it is kind of amazing how the prices of homes are continuing to creep up. And I want to show you this graph right here that shows you how the prices have crept up over the past couple of years. So today is a great time to buy a home. So the next aspect of owning a home is how the home builds wealth over time. Because you bought the house for $750, you put the $150,000 down, you owe $600. Now, every month you're making payments, the $600,000 that you owe is going to go down slowly over the 30-year period. If you bought the house for $750 and that a period of time passes and now the house is worth $800 and you've been paying your mortgage down, when you go to sell the house for $800, you're going to get the difference between the $800,000 purchase price and whatever you owe the bank. Now, the next benefit of owning a home and why you might want to consider buying now as opposed to waiting are tax advantages. That's right. If you own a house, when the monthly payment that you're making for the interest, depending on that, I'm just going to give you a general example. The point is, the numbers don't matter. The fact is, you will have a tax savings when you buy a house that you will not get when you're renting an apartment. So the advantages of owning a home over renting an apartment are really staggering. So that means that, and it's always a good time to buy a house right now. Now let's go on to section number 4. We're going to talk about personal and lifestyle benefits of owning a home. That's right. There are some great personal benefits that you will experience owning a home. Number 1, if you have pets. I've had many clients who come and want to rent an apartment and they have 2 dogs and a cat. But you know what? When they start looking for an apartment to rent, a lot of homes and a lot of apartment buildings will either say no pets at all, or you want to have a pet, no problem, $200 a month extra for each pet. So when you're owning a home, there's nobody that's going to come to you and tell you how much you or how you can't or how you can have pets in your home. That's up to you. Another attribute is that you can personalize your home. That's right. You can paint your walls whatever color. You can change walls. You can do whatever you want. You want to put a hot tub inside the house, in the backyard, that's on you. Nobody's here to tell you what you can and cannot do. Now, there are some rules and restrictions depending on where your house is located in the community and the zoning rules. So when you're buying and shopping for a house, these are things that you want to look out for. And we're going to get into that when we advance into our future video. So stick around. You're going to really appreciate learning and gathering this information. Another attribute for home ownership is stability. That's right. Stability of owning a home provides the stability for your family, for your children, as well as your pets. Why? Because this is your home. You have your yard, your front yard, your backyard. You get to know your neighbors. And when you're growing up in a community and your children are growing and you're raising them, you're going to start meeting other compatible families and friends. That creates a stable environment where your children, your family can grow and prosper. Okay, now let's move on to section number 5. Let's address some common concerns that most people have when it comes to buying a home, and they're valid concerns. The first concern is, I'm not sure if I can afford it. Well, we're going to address that. We're going to show you how you can determine what you can afford. And sometimes you'll be pleasantly surprised what you can afford. And there's options that you have to get around what you can and cannot afford. So what we're going to do in our future video, we're going to break down the cost of home ownership and show you how affordable home ownership can be. That's right, because we're going to take a look at the cost of living, and we're going to take a deep analysis on what you're spending your money on and get a vibe for where your priorities are in terms of how you're spending your money and what you can change and adjust to make home ownership a part of your world. Another concern most people have is, what if the market crashes? I often ask people, well, what exactly does that mean? Market crashing. And when was the last time the market crashed and it affected your home ownership? Now, I'm not trying to make light of it. There were a lot of people who were affected back in 2008 when the market did crash. But since 2008, it's been 15 years. And the problem with back in 2008, a lot of the lenders were giving people mortgages without verifying whether or not they can afford these houses. And clearly, that's a clear reason why the market crashed, because a lot of people were able to access home ownership, but they were not being responsible about it. They weren't really, and the banks weren't being responsible with the lending. They weren't verifying and proving that the people could afford the homes. Another common concern is, I don't have enough for a down payment. That's fine. And we're going to talk about some of the low down payment loans and no down payment loans that are guaranteed by the United States government. I think we're going to talk about how to save money for a house in one of our upcoming courses. So I want you to stick around for that. And we got some really great things coming your way. Okay, number 5. Now we're going to talk about the action steps that you need to take to get started. The first step that you want to take is always get pre-approved. I want to put that out there up front. If you're thinking about buying a house, why wouldn't you want to get pre-approved? That's the thing that you need to do in order to find out how much your monthly payments will be on a proposed house, how much you need for down payment, what the closing costs look like, what the interest rates look like, how much cash do I need? And all of these questions will get answered for you personally, right? But what we're going to do, I want you to stick around in this course because we're going to help you understand how this whole pre-approval process works to the point where you might even be able to pre-qualify yourself for a mortgage. So let's go on to the next step. If you're in the buying phase right now, once you're pre-approved, what you would do is you would find a good real estate agent who knows the terrain, who understands the market, and can help you find the right house for you and your family. Now, I'm going to show you in our future course also how to find a real estate agent, how to choose a real estate agent. How do you know if this real estate agent is good for you and your family, right? So a lot of people start working with a real estate agent to get a little frustrated. And sometimes the frustration is that this real estate agent is a commissioned salesperson. Now, this real estate agent has to provide for themselves and their family. They can't take the type of time out that we're taking here to educate you about the home buying process. That's why you're here right now. And that's why we're going to give you all the goods that you need to have in order to choose the right real estate agent, in order to choose the right mortgage person, the home inspector, and all of the types of people that you're going to need in order to be successful buying the house that you want and get the best solution for you and your family. So stick around, we're going to get deeper into it. So what I'm going to ask you to do right now is to download the link that we have below. It's a form that will help you to identify the must-haves that you want to see in your first home. It's going to get you thinking, and that's what you need to do. So now, before you go on to lesson 2, what I want you to do is hit the interactive quiz down below, and I want to see if you can answer these questions correctly about buying your first home. And then as soon as you're completing that quiz, click the other button below so we can take you to the next course and we can get you one step closer to buying your next home. If you are interested in finding out more about what you can do and how you can qualify, feel free to call me, email me, text me right below. Additionally, I'm going to put a link to our YouTube page so you can learn about some of the neighborhoods that we have in the Bronx, Westchester, and in Connecticut. We got some great information and it's all free of charge. So why not? Let's dive in and take you to your next step.